All right, so here's a continuation of the review. All right, so let's say we have, we want to simplify this right here. All right, and it looks real interesting. So we're going to take it piece by piece. We're going to start with this first part. We know it's a product, but we're going to start with this first part. Then we'll deal with the second part. This says 4x cubed is raised to the second power. 4 times x cubed, that's a product. So we're going to come here and use power of a product. And we're going to distribute that squared inside to the 4 and then to the x cubed. So it becomes 4, let's try that again. So it'll become 4 squared and then x cubed quantity squared, right? We know 4 squared is 16. 3 times 2 is 6, so this becomes x to the 6. And now that we're done with this side, now we can come over and deal with this side. So x to the 10 raised to the half, that's a power raised to a power. So we're going to be looking at this power of a power, which we already used actually. A half of 10, or 10 times a half, is 5. So this is times x to the 5. X to the 5 times x to the 5. That's product of powers, where we add the exponents when we have the same base. So that's 16 x to the 11. Just like that. Okay? Let's ease on down this here road. Go to the next one. Now we have this problem here where all of this is being raised to the half. And hopefully we remember at the end, towards the end of last week, we talked about rational, this should say rational exponents. And if we have something raised here to the 1 over n, then we can take, like in this case, is 1 over 2. So then we can change this so that it is the square root of 100 k to the 4th r to the 18th. It's the same as that. Remember that. All right, but we're not going to do that yet. We're going to actually use the product, the power of a product here. All right, and the power of a product says that I can distribute the exponent inside. This is a product, and I'm going to distribute this 1/2 to each part inside so that it becomes 100 to the half k to the 4th raised to the half. And then finally, I'm going to write this kind of down below, r to the 18th is raised to the half. Now we said anything raised to the half can be written as square root, so basically the square root of 100 we know is 10. K to the 4th raised to the half, that's power of a power, so multiply. 4 times a half, which is k squared. 18 times a half is 9, so this is r to the 9. And this is our final answer. All right, when we get here, I'm going to stop moving along the sheets with me. Hopefully by now you understand how you should use the sheets. All right, when you get here, this is dealing with a quotient, so we're going to be dealing with the quotient rule here. 12 divided by 8 is a decimal, so we can, the best thing we can do is simplify this. 4 goes into 12 3 times, and 4 goes into 8 twice, so that can be simplified. When we get here to a5 divided by a negative 3, we can write this as a to the 5 minus negative 3, right? By quotient of powers, we can do that. And then b, when we get to the b, that's b to the 9 minus 7. And then c to the negative 8 minus our denominator, so that's what, negative 2. Now, that can be real complicated for some people. So another way of looking at this, right, which is the way that I think I've talked about in class, is that if you see negatives in the numerator, put them in the denominator. And if you see negatives in the denominator, put them in the numerator. So that this could be rewritten as 3 over 2, and then A5, A3, B9, C2, B7, C8. You're like, what? What did you just do? I just said if the exponent is negative, and it's in the numerator, put it in the denominator. If it has a negative exponent in the denominator, put it in the numerator. And we do it so that the exponent can become positive. All right, and now we can use our rules. So a to the 5 times a to the 3. That's a to the 8, because 5 plus 3 is 8. All right. And then b to the 9 minus 7, that's 2. So we're just going to write b squared up top. So we're done with our a's and we're done with our b's. Now we just got to deal with our c's. So c2 minus 8, that gives us negative 6 on top. We don't want it negative, so we need to put that c to the 6 on the bottom so that it can be positive. And we're done. All right, distribute our half inside here. So 9 to the half is the same as the square root of 9, which we know is 3. M to the negative 2 times, or raised to the half, we got to multiply, so that becomes m to the negative 1, or just 1 over m. All right, and then n to the 6 raised to the half. A half of 6 is 3. We multiply all this. 3 times 1 times n cubed is 3n cubed, over 1 times m times 1, which is m. There we are. All right, Logan wants to design a rectangular parking lot. What is the Logan's rectangular parking lot area? So to find the area of a rectangle is length times width. So we have to take 2x to the 6y squared and multiply it by 4x squared y. So that's 2 times 4 times x to the 6 times x squared times y squared times y, which is 8x8 y cubed. We get to this one. It says, what is the area if we know the width and the length? Same thing as the one above. And now we just got to put like things together. 3 times 5, x to the 4th times x cubed, y squared times y cubed, right? So this becomes 15x to the 7th, y to the 5th. Says the area of a rectangle. This one we're given the area, right? It's 25 m to the 9 n to the 5. But now, and we're given the length as well. So that's 5m squared n to the 4th. But it wants us to find the width. So we need to divide each side by 5m squared n to the 4. And W is 25 divided by 5 is 5. m to the 9 over m to the 2, so that's m9 minus 2, n to the 5 minus 4, and this becomes 5 m to the 7th n equals w. And there we are. All right, see if you can work out these last couple ones. I think I'm going to do a third video now.